What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Recap Kickback. Bel-Air Season 3, episodes 5 and 6 are over, but we're here to talk about it on Recap Kickback. Once again, it's your boy Chappell, the host of Recap Kickback, aka the OG Jeffrey, and with me to talk about the most recent two episodes of Bel-Air on Peacock, Season 3, it's Pooya. Pooya, what's good?
Chappelle, I've noticed you've been liking a lot of my photos. You trying to tell me something?
Hold on, no, don't. Let's not get presumptuous, okay? I gave my friend the phone, and they started to click like, and I don't really mean nothing per se. Hey, don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. Sometimes I press like, but then I felt like it'd been rude to unlike it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, once I get the notification, you really can't unlike.
It's too late.
Yeah, unless my social media is popping off, then it's good because then it'll just get buried and I might not see the noti. So.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that and much more this week on Recap Kickbacks presents the Bel-Air a post show recap. Again, this is season 3, episodes 5 and 6. We thought we were going to slow it down and take them one by one as Peacock slowly rolls out this amazing show, episode by episode, week by week. And then Pooya, they continue to drop these episodes 2 at a time. What are they doing?
I don't know. Like, why are they rushing to get to the end of this? Unless they have a season 4 ready for 6 months from now, I don't know why we waited for a year and a half only for you to just like quickly shove it through.
Yeah, it's like on the one hand, a lot of times we get these streaming shows that they drop all of them at once. You're like, okay, I gotta get the podcast done. I gotta watch it. I gotta beat all the spoilers. You know, like there's so many things you gotta do sometimes when you're covering shows that get dropped at once. But then when you expect to kind of go in and savor a show like Bel-Air, something you've been waiting for a very long time, you definitely don't expect for it to come and go so quickly. And so I'm struggling with that right now, Pooya.
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love it because I also can't help myself. If the episodes are out, I want to watch them and make me pace myself. Give me one a week. Let us milk it, milk the occasion. I don't want to be done with Bel-Air and like we're in a position where hypothetically we're going to be done in 2 weeks.
Yeah, almost done. Like I said, 5 and 6 are out, and then 7 and 8 will be dropping. If they're not already out, they're probably right out after this. And so thank y'all for catching us week to week as we drop 2 episodes at a time. If they ever slow down and start doing them once at a time, we'll cover them like that. But in the meantime, it looks like we have to catch up with the drop schedule because we do have a lot to talk about. So thank you all for coming here and being here with us, recapkickback.com. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go to the YouTube page and like the YouTube videos. Hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe, youtube.com/@recapkickback. And we have a nice little Bel-Air playlist for you. Pooya, these 2 episodes, what did you think about them overall?
I really like them. I feel like combined with the 2 episodes, we did not only did we move the plot quite a bit, but we also answered some questions that were looming. I feel like we got a cameo to end all cameos. We got a guest star to end all guest stars. Like I am so pumped to finally get to talk about this with you. That's the other thing with covering a show with a friend is that you want to save it all for the pod, so you can't talk about it with them. So I'm excited to hear your thoughts too.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta talk about it at some point. Joseph Marcel, aka the original Jeffrey, came and graced our presence here on this podcast, and I will say, we all love Jeffrey from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We definitely love the new Jeffrey from Bel-Air on Peacock. But now I'm thinking, okay, we brought the old Jeffrey back. Pooya, who is your preferred Jeffrey? Because you got to pick now. You got to pick.
No,
you
do
got
not.
to pick.
No.
It's 2. They in the same room. You can only door A, Jeffrey. Door B, Jeffrey.
It's different because on one of the Jeffreys is so funny and was my favorite character on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Mm-hmm. The other Jeffrey is a bad man, and he's also my favorite character on on Bel-Air. Sorry.
Yeah.
So they're different Jeffreys, but I like them both for different reasons. But if you have to make me pick, I mean, right now there's still enough more content from original Jeffrey that I'm always going to go with the original Jeffrey. Original Jeffrey being as posh as he was, but then also goofing out, dancing, gambling with the children, taking their money, but also giving it back. Like so many good moments with Jeffrey on the other show. But why can't I just like both? What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this?
I gotta hold your feet to the fire just a little bit, make you make some hard decisions here, Pooya, because we got the OG Jeffrey Joseph Marcel in this episode, but not in a way I would have expected to come across him. I don't know what I thought if we ever were to get this cameo in the past. We've seen the old school and Viv show up. We've seen other characters from the past Bel Air come in and make specific appearances in this show, and I love that. But to get Jeffrey, the OG Jeffrey, in this role, Pooya, this was certainly a twist from what I could have seen coming, I guess, in my mind.
Yeah, no, this was 100% a twist for me. I didn't expect to see him. And even if we had thought about, okay, if he comes, what role would he play? I'd think maybe he's like this Jeffrey's dad or grandfather, like somehow familial tie, but he's like part of the crime syndicate that Jeffrey ran away from. And he's one of the heads of it. Not like the main, but clearly one of the higher ups.
Yeah, so we see, of course, our new Jeffrey. He has been watching Frederick closely because, as I said, I don't trust him. And we find out that this burner phone that he found has been used to contact Frederick's mom. So not only do we get Jeffrey, we get Jeffrey's baby mama in this one. And she seemingly has Frederick's ear. Jeffrey very much wants his son near him so he can keep an eye on him, make sure the enemies don't watch him. But I don't know. It feels like Frederick, he's looking at Jeffrey and saying, I know you want me here, but I don't really even know you like that. You left me hanging. And so now there's some tension between, does Frederick go back with his mom or does he stay where Jeffrey can keep an eye on him?
Well, that's the thing. I feel like, we find out that the reason why there's eyes on him now is that Jeffrey made contact and they found him and they found the mom. So that kind of put them all back on the radar. But obviously, there's no safer place than being with Jeffrey right now. There really isn't. Like, he is definitely the reason why Frederick is safe. And I think ultimately making the decision to have them all stay with him is the right move. But that all being said, I'm nervous, Chappell. I'm nervous because I'll tell you this. That last scene, the Jeffrey handshake, the goodbye, Jeffrey, and shaking hands, part of me with the music that was swelling up, I thought, oh my God, is he going to get shot in the back? Like I thought I was going to get shot. So I'm nervous. I don't think he gave the money to give them the safety because they said basically either you're coming back to pay your debts by being part of the syndicate or you pay for that with your son's life, basically. And he gave them money instead and said, this is my counter offer, but we don't know if they're going to accept it. I don't think we're done here.
On the one hand, I did feel like the storyline, okay, he shut it down. Here's the money. Make them accept the offer, is what he says. Something to that effect. Like, if this ain't enough, make it enough. And then he goes on about his day. And you're right. There is a handshake. So we are supposed to be led to believe that, maybe he just bought his freedom from the crime syndicate. But, I mean, we just got Joseph Marcel. You don't want to stretch it out just a little bit longer. I mean, we got 4 more episodes in the season. This is going to be the end of OG Jeffrey. I just refuse to believe it.
Same. I don't think we're done here. There's no way you got him for 1/2 of an episode only to then for us never to see him again. Like that first confrontation between the two of them was so sick. I loved it.
Because this is Roman. He's playing the character named Roman, who apparently was left in charge when our Jeffrey went on the run. He told Roman to look out for his baby moms, to look out for his child Frederick, and then Roman gets arrested like the next
almost
day.
Immediately.
Yeah, almost immediately. And so Frederick's probably been growing up with a chip on his shoulder because he was put up for adoption. We know his mom did it, but she didn't really have the support that she needed because Jeffrey, who was probably the breadwinner at the time, seeing how much money he ends up handling by the end of these 2 episodes, he just leaves her hanging. And he thought he was doing what was best for the family, but I don't know. I feel like if I was Frederick, I'd be a little resentful too, not knowing, both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because think of it this way. To Frederick, Jeffrey is what Lewis to Will, where you don't have the full story and you're kind of like, like whatever my dad is now, kind of scummy that he left me behind, kind of scummy that he didn't take care of me. And obviously he was doing it for the betterment of his child, but you don't quite know that yet. So, and you grew up having that kind of heat. It's going to take a while before that heat's gone.
Yeah. Penelope probably hasn't been making it easy since she's been reconnected with Frederick because she knows her side of the story, which is I probably told Jeffrey not to do this, not to go and go on the run or make the moves that he was doing, and so she's probably resenting. And you're right, there's a lot of parallel between what we'll see is happening with Lou and Will over on that side, but here, yeah, I'd have to look and say, okay, Penelope. She's tied to Frederick. Jeffrey's tied to Frederick. He's leaning toward his mom. His dad's probably safer to be around. But I also have to question if that's even the case when Jeffrey is the whole reason the boy even has a target on his back. Is Jeffrey and Penelope both reached out to their kid to make a connection, and that connection is what led everybody this way. Now, does that target stay off their back now that Jeffrey has ripped open the punching bag and taken out all the money? I guess we shall see.
We'll find out.
Yeah, I was not expecting that to be full of money. That was kind of cool. Like we talked about Jeffrey the Secret Agent before, but this episode made him really dope.
Yeah, the punching bag that he's been using for what I thought was cardio is actually his safe haven of money.
Yeah, and I'm like, Jeffrey, what was you doing over there across the pond? You got where that money come from, Jeffrey? Jeffrey moving drugs, Pooya? Is Uncle Phil harboring a fugitive of the law?
I don't know. I think he's harboring someone who moved away from that life and is living clean, maybe. But
really, because Jeffrey was definitely about to go back to that life, and Uncle Phil, the judge, was like, "All right, Jeffrey, you do what you got to do."
Here's the funny thing, man. I think genuinely they've set up a good enough story here where we could get a Jeffrey spinoff. Like you could 100% do a Jeffrey spinoff. Top Boy was one of the biggest shows for a while. Doesn't have to be. Yeah.
That was really big too. Yeah, like, you got the British
Crime Syndicate. Yeah, let's get something. That'll be fun. I'd be into it.
Yeah, but I feel like I need more crossover because I'm not ready to leave these characters behind. Like if you take Jeffrey, you gotta take somebody else too. Like Jeffrey and Ashley, go do like a buddy cop film or something.
All I'm saying is what I don't want is you build all this up and then we're having a spinoff, but it's led by Frederick. I don't want that.
Nah. The Frederick Prince of Bel-Air. I don't need it. No. Don't need it at all. So the Jeffrey storyline is probably wrapped up, but maybe not. Again, do you want to waste this character for just this amount of time? I guess we shall see moving forward. Another character that I don't expect to see too much of now is probably Erica. Her name came up because Uncle Phil has to go to her and make it clear that he isn't interested in a business relationship. Things have gotten a little tense in the Banks household as far as Uncle Phil and Viv go, Pooya.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on this? Tell me your feelings first.
So, I like that Uncle Phil went to go stand 10 toes down, right? Like I like that he went to Erica and was like, "Hey, chill out," because Erica's telling him, we talked about this business wise, and this is not a good move for you. You definitely don't need to be severing ties with us. And Uncle Phil's like, nah, I could tell there was trouble in paradise, so I need to go ahead and shut this down. He probably shouldn't have let this get this far. But now that him and Aunt Viv have actually had a conversation about their relationship, I think that, cutting off people who might be temptation might be for the best. Like, okay, she's trying, I'm trying. We've also acknowledged that we haven't really been intimate. We haven't really been loving each other like we should. Maybe push the Ericas and especially the Sharifs a little bit further from our relationship. That's what I'm thinking.
Why are you especially Sharif?
Because
if anything, they should be on the same level.
No, because see, here's the problem. Erica, she was from the past. There was history there with her and Uncle Phil. So those tensions were like old things that were just bubbling back up because he was, like he said, he was enjoying the attention that she was giving him. That does not make him right. I just could understand the Erica a little bit more. But we're playing defense against Sharif. Erica was already within we're trying to get her away from us. We're trying to keep Sharif out. And I feel like that's a harder force because look at that beard, Pooya. Those muscles. This man's going to be unstoppable. You got to keep him at bay.
Dude, it was Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv's wedding anniversary, and he was feeding her. Sharif was feeding her lunch.
Yeah, and Uncle Phil walked in. And to his point, to his credit, I'll keep it kind of cool. He was like, "All right, it's cool. That's fine. That's fine." But then he said something very interesting that ended up popping off a big argument between the two of them. He said, "Yeah, I trust you completely because when you say there's nothing to worry about and it means nothing, I understand you." It sounded like the subtext was unlike you who blow things up out of proportion, but whatever. I guess, we all can't be adults. Pooya, was he rubbing it in a little too much?
Yes, she called him out on it and everything. He was basically like, yeah, I'm not going to blow my load on something that's not a big deal.
It's harmless.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
I'm going to blow it out of proportion. It wasn't that deep. And Viv, the implication is, oh, so you're saying that I did that with Erica, huh? Big mistake. Again, Uncle Phil is a smooth operator, and then he does some dumb stuff like this, where it's so obvious what he's doing.
Yeah, and see, that's the wild part about it is that if he could have just resisted the urge to do that, I felt like he handled it so well. Came in, you know what, Sharif? Boom. I ain't worried about that. It's good to see you. We'll talk later. Enjoy your lunch. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Maybe bring it up if it's an issue. Talk about it later on. Like, hey, what was that about? But you don't got to make a big deal out of it. But he could not resist just being like, overreacting to a harmless moment. I know I would never do it, so can't relate to anybody who would. Wouldn't it be weird if somebody held something harmless against you? Like, I don't know, having lunch with this man on our anniversary? Oh, well, could never be me, And so I was like, Phil, you almost had some cool points. Like, I felt like she would have respected that a little bit more had you actually genuinely showed it, came up and showed, like, hey, it doesn't bother me. And also maybe talk about it if it does bother you.
Well, that's the thing. I think for Uncle Phil in that moment, he's jockeying for position. He's trying to get the brownie points back. Because they start their anniversary with the kids having made them breakfast, but the kids also finding out that they're not sleeping in the same room. And I think he wants to fix everything, and he knows in that moment he can cause a ruckus and yell at Sharif, or he can just let it go because he's trying to look at the bigger picture and fix things, which is obviously the move. But he also kind of wants his credit, and I feel like that's where he's wrong. Like, he should not be making it clear of like, I don't care. I just care about us. It's all about love. It's all about me and you. This is our anniversary. But also, you got to give it to me. Like, I handled myself like a champ today. No, you don't leave that part out. You don't need that part. But my favorite part of all this, Chappell, is when he's like, get those whack ass flowers away that Sharif gave out of here.
Beat it, Sharif, scram. That's what I have in my notes. He can go. I never want to see this man again. Yeah, I can tell. I can tell there were sharks in the water, and so hopefully we got rid of Sharif for good. But it did take a little work, Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil did have to talk about their issues. We kind of alluded to, but Aunt Viv did like all them pictures on that man's page, even though she didn't mean to. But just through proxy of her friends taking her phone, she was showing her phone off to this new handsome guy off on her phone to all her friends and stuff. Sharif caught on that Aunt Viv was interested. So it's not like Sharif was just, stalking around. It's Aunt Viv kind of put the feelers out there a little bit.
No, I don't think Aunt Viv put the feelers out there. All Aunt Viv did was acknowledge that it felt nice to. Well, okay, so when she was talking about how it felt nice to be appreciated, and she thought he was good looking.
Yeah,
like, it was nice. It was nice to have another person like look, appreciate me, undress me with their eyes. I was like, wait a minute, like I don't know if like everything else you said so far, like that is a lot. Like undressing with their eyes is a lot.
Yeah, she said, I like the way he make me feel like I'm sexy, and she's like, I like that. I like that. I need more of that. And so it is a weird thing to say. I understand what she's trying to present. It's like, hey, I wish you would look at me like that. I wish I missed the feeling that you used to have when you would do me like that. But at the same time, when you say like you enjoyed him undressing with you, why you enjoy it so much? I can see you missing when I do it, but you shouldn't enjoy it when he do it. So I hear you. And it was hard for both of them really to talk about their feelings. Him, even Uncle Phil saying, yeah, I like the attention I was getting from Erica. Cool, bet. They've talked about it. They said everything is cool. Do you think we'll have more interruptions in the Banks relationship before the end of the season?
No, it felt like they put a bow on it and it's done, right? If that's how it felt like, but also we've seen Sharif for one too many episodes for me to not think something else is going to happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I was gonna make a different point, Pooya.
Okay.
I feel like we haven't really solved the intimacy problem yet. And so I think this isn't over. You know, they talked,
Yeah.
but wait, no, you know, this is a family show, but we ain't seen them. You know, we ain't really seen them rekindle the flame yet. I think
Where's
that
the
there's more.
sex? They're not
Yeah,
sexting.
I think there's more work to be done here, or we gonna get some more interferences. I feel like maybe Sharif or Erica spins the block because right now it feels a little too cute. It's like, all right, if it's all good, why y'all not kissing? So that's my suspicion, Pooya, but I'm just throwing it out there.
I think I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be Erica. I think it's going to be Sharif.
Yeah, I can see that. I really could. Cause Erica, she's on borrowed time, right? She should have been gone. They really did like Aunt Viv barely let her back in. Her Uncle Phil already had a little history in the past as well. So she's lucky to even be in our presence. But Sharif is new. You know, he don't really owe Uncle Phil nothing. You know, just because Aunt Viv is cool with Uncle Phil, don't mean Sharif is ready to stand down. And so I could see definitely what you're talking about. He doesn't really have a lot of strings attached to him in the same way Erica does. So maybe he caters another event. Maybe he slides back into those DMs. I think you might be onto something.
We'll have to wait and see. But if anybody's doing any maneuvers, it's Amviv and Sharif as of right now to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's put a pin in that because there'll be a lot more to talk about with that. What did you think about the return of Lou and Aunt Vi in this episode? Because both of Will's parents are in the same spot for the first time, and it took a lot to get them here, but it did seem like they had some meaningful conversations.
Yeah, I felt like they kind of built this very nicely in the 2 episode arc that we had here, where it was on the heels of Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil getting to a better place and Carlton and Ashley helping them get there, that we see Will feel inspired to do this for his own family. He gets his mom to come over and he pushes her. He basically has to push her to, hey, Lou's in town. Let's talk about that. And I'm happy. I did like to see the where the conversation went. It was good to get them both in a room and essentially have Lou map out of and say, hey, this is why I lost everything. It's because I was owed money. I went to get that money. Things went south. That's all it was. And then and Vi also taking in the or accepting the part she played in it, which was I didn't tell him to do anything to anybody, but I said, don't stand down, get your money. So those two things combined, this happened. Bit of a not a miscommunication, but also this was not the energy we had for each other the whole time.
I didn't like this. I didn't
Okay.
like it. I didn't
Explain
like it.
why. Explain why.
Because I think it's and this is a personal thing. This has nothing to do with the show, right? This is just the way I've been reading the show. It does make some departures from the main storylines,
Big
the main
departure.
themes. But yeah, this is such a big departure from the Fresh Prince lore that we know and love that I just like I can believe Jeffrey as a secret agent. It's really hard for me to believe Lou wants to be in Will's life now because to me, I will never unsee, you know, Will Smith's iconic moment. Yeah, why don't he want me, man? You know, like that kind of thing to me is so Fresh Prince of Bel Air. So it should be so Bel Air that it's hard for me to reconcile the two things. I guess if you've never seen the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, it probably don't hit like that. But I know you have. To me,
Yes.
I can't remove that loop from my mind.
Well, that to me is like top 3 emotional moments for me watching a show of all time. That moment with Will and Uncle Phil. Um, that being said, I think that's still not necessarily impossible, Chappelle.
Right.
Like that was a sitcom where within a 20-minute span they made us believe that Will's dad wants him back, wants everything to do with him, then runs out into the night by the end of the episode. This is a dramatized series. This could happen in like 4 episodes from now. It could happen next season.
Oh,
so
yeah.
just because he's here now and we end the episode with them playing hoops one-on-one together doesn't mean that he's going to stick around. He could still do something nefarious and run off.
Yeah, and not that I'm wishing on Will to have this broken home that he had in the past, but I also feel like this show does a good job of I won't say sensationalizing, but the people on the show blow a lot of things out of proportion to like a large like extent. I remember in like the earlier seasons, maybe the first season, I think it's like they were like all hiding Will's secret that he had to leave Philly because of the he went to jail that time with the gun and all that stuff. And then like 3 or 4 episodes in, you and I are saying, I mean, it really wasn't that big of a deal. He didn't do anything. He didn't kill anybody, you know? And so this now it has me reading the Vi and Lou's situation and saying, okay, but why have you been mad at him all this time? Like, it's not like that the two of them had a misunderstanding. And now that Will is there, they understand it differently. They both know everything that Will knows. It's just now Will's in on it. So it's like the beef that they had that was keeping Will away from his dad had really nothing to do with the like Lou going to jail. Vi was understood why that happened. She wasn't a fan of it, but is that the reason to keep Lou away from Will and like harbor this kind of like this imaginary beef between the two of them? I mean, it's clear they don't get along, but to me, I thought it always stemmed from the same place, and now it feels like that's just a different beef.
Yeah, I feel like they might have their own side issues, or she didn't really fully grasp the exact story herself, and
Yeah,
she wanted to keep Will away from him as a result. So he kind of villainized him a little bit, maybe. Here's the interesting thing to me. So, and Viv clearly brings up to, Vi brings up to
Vi.
Aunt Viv
Yeah.
that, hey, Black Cess is all good and all, but this isn't going to pay for my child's college.
Mhm.
And so clearly she wants him to turn back to basketball. I think Lou wants him to turn back to
Mhm.
basketball. So if you're looking for your "how come he don't want me" man moment, it could be when Will gets to that basketball thing. Lou's like, "Right, I'm here. I'm an NBA dad now. Where's my money?" Like maybe that's the storyline. I don't know, but it
Yeah.
is interesting to me that it's like Will has two parents, or sorry, two families, right? He's got
Mhm.
Vi and Lou, and then Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil. And Viv and Uncle Phil are like, do whatever you want, pursue your business dreams, get all your aspirations, do all the things. And they're like, but the basketball is what's going to get you somewhere. This is
Yeah.
fun for the summer, but the basketball is what you need. So it'll be fun to see where we go from here.
Those hoop dreams are in his DNA. You know, his dad had the same vision. It's like, oh,
Yes.
I could have done other things, but I knew basketball was the way out. And so it really does mirror the life that Will is having, you know, where he could do other things, but basketball is the surefire way. And Lou thinks that if Lou stuck to basketball, everything would have been great. But he's afraid that Will is making the wrong mistake here. And I think that that's valid. If I'm Lou, I'm looking at my life experience saying, dang, I don't want that to happen to my son. Now, there's some really big differences here in these people's lives. I don't know if it's just a pride thing or what, but Will Smith, or whatever his last name is in this show, him graduating from this preparatory school in Bel Air, living with his rich aunt and uncle, pretty much ensures that he's going to college. You know, there's no way Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil are going to let this man cross the stage without some connections, some scholarships, or at least some flat out cash to pay for a couple semesters and or more at school. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe Vi and Lou are like, we want you to do it on your own. That's a little irresponsible. You know, like had y'all had assistance, maybe, just maybe, y'all would have had to, you know, do whatever it took to survive those cold winters in Philly. So I'm looking at the Will situation and thinking, that basketball will never be his only option anymore. I think now that they've reconnected with the Bankses, he will have other options. This is a matter of does he want to take them.
Right. I mean, the pride has always been there with Will, where it's clear he doesn't really want to go the handouts route. But when it came to the business stuff, he was like, you know, Uncle Phil would help us. And Carlton's like, no, we're not. Like, we're not doing this. He kept telling Carlton, we're not doing this. So I feel like he's not going to want that. But I think ultimately, what all it comes down to is, like, I just don't see him not going to college. You know, I think
Yeah,
I'm with you. It's like, no, even if he doesn't want the handout, they're like, shut up. You're taking the handout. You'll pay us back later. Like
yeah.
that's the compromise.
And even if it's not college, Will's never going back to Philly to live full time. You know, like let's be real. He's enjoying Bel Air. He might be a Philly guy or has been in a couple years ago, but the things that were in Philly, the streets and all the stuff that he was getting into, that like chased him basically to you know, California. they still exist, not the same gangbanger that was there thanks to Jeffrey, but it's still the same type of same type of action. So I just don't see this guy going from mingling at the country club, making these connections, graduating from this prestigious school, and then saying, "All right, y'all, I'm gonna go back to Philly to go, work at a deli." Like it's not happening. He's
Right.
either going to college or Uncle Phil's gonna hook him up with a good job or something.
Yeah, he's covered. I think he's
Yeah.
covered. Again, pride aside, they will tell him, they're like, yo, you are good. Like, do not worry. You are good.
Mm. Yeah. Because I think we can at this point we can see, the future that Will could potentially have, whether that's just finding, different jobs that he'd be good at in the business realm or interning somewhere and then moving his way up. There's a lot of options for somebody like him. And maybe even more options for somebody like him than Carlton, who does have this I guess you could call it a stain on his resume right now with his drug use and getting in trouble at school, because Carlton is now going to be trying to navigate his addiction and his girlfriend Amira, which everyone has said this was a bad idea, Pooya, but finally in this episode we have to cross the bridge. Amira might be making decisions that are not in Carlton's best interest.
Might be. I mean, we've seen Carlton progress a lot with his anonymous meetings that he's been going to. I think his would you call his sponsor? Am I using that correctly?
Yeah, I don't know if it's his sponsor, but he's definitely the group leader of that NA meeting for sure.
Yeah,
Spencer.
Yeah, Spencer. It isn't a sponsor because I think sponsor is a different term.
Like it had like a one-on-one, like a one-to-one kind of coaching,
kind of like his sensei right now. His sober sensei. But Spencer and him have been really building a great, strong bond here, and I feel like Spencer's been giving him some sage advice. And within one episode, we see Amira essentially say, "We quit this entire establishment, Spencer, because." All because Spencer clearly has an eye out for Carlton and is helping Carlton out, but she doesn't like it. I really loved, and we didn't talk about this, but I really loved when Spencer came over to the country club to talk to Carlton when Carlton had that episode when they were doing the pickleball thing.
Yeah.
So like Spencer clearly has a good lookout for him, but Amira definitely doesn't love that Spencer essentially hinted that, hey, maybe you don't need this connection with Amira to go that strong right now.
Right. Again, we don't want you to be in a serious relationship this early in your healing process. And it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of heartache and depression that could come from, a falling out. If you fall out with somebody you're in love with, that doesn't feel great. That could lead Carlton back into making some questionable decisions. Also, maybe Amir is just not the greatest influence on him. And although Spencer had not seen that really yet, he could tell that that's probably a pattern with people who have to deal with these struggles. And so he gives Carlton that wisdom after Carlton has a little run in at the country club, because him and Will were acting almost like servers at this pickleball event, like you talked about. And Carlton came across the alcohol. Now we know he ends up getting his door back at the end of these two episodes, but prior to this, he was on probation with the Bankses. They were checking his pee. He couldn't have his door. He definitely had the liquor cabinet locked up, so Carlton couldn't get in there. Carlton almost has a panic attack and pretty much has to exit the premises, and that's what led Spencer to come in. How did you think that the show depicted Carlton's moment? Because I actually was very surprised that it would happen like this on the show. Not because I didn't think they would go there, but just my mind wasn't really set on would there be temptations for Carlton at work.
Yeah, and I mean it was like a 2-second moment where he's given this tray to hold and immediately he just goes into this space. I think what happens is with Carlton is that what we're seeing is when there's a high intense stress situation and there's alcohol or narcotics around, that's when he's at his most vulnerable. Whereas, if he's like in a chill spot and they're like, drink, it's like, I'm good. But when it's stressful, he's kind of like, oh my God, this is a lot, and needs to remove himself.
Yeah, and the stress of Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil's relationship kind of being rocky right now is really what is putting Carlton over the edge. Him and Spencer talk. Spencer talks about how, this might not be the greatest thing for you to be doing right now in this relationship with Amira. But this is really bad timing because Carlton, he's really trying to connect with Amira. He ends up inviting Amira to his crib. to have dinner with the family. And
Yes.
I don't know what I expected, but I definitely expected her to show up. I was not. I was very surprised when she showed up late.
I thought she might show up because like I'm assuming there's going to be drama that comes out of this. So I was like, maybe she shows up and she's looking like, you know, maybe she's done something.
Did she
Or
look like she did something to you?
well, when she explained why she was feeling the way she was feeling, I felt like, okay, like, you know, that makes a lot of sense. Because initially when the door opened, I was like, oh, something happened.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what. But then I don't know. I don't think so. She does end the episode sharing location with Carlton so that Carlton doesn't have to worry about where she is. What do you think about that?
I think that she was high. I think she showed up and she had been doing drugs. And I
Mm.
think when Carlton confronted her about it, or when he saw her, you know, she kind of used whatever the situation was with her sister, where she said, "Oh, no, 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 it's not that. I'm just, you know, I'm really sad, blah, blah, blah. I'm struggling. It's my sister's death." I feel like that's a cover up. I feel like Amira, her presence in Carlton's life, as far as like the storytelling aspect of the show, right? It is just it's just like pushing so far where everybody's trying to push her out so much that I'm like, all right, there's got to be a reason. Like there got to be some drama coming from Amira. And like you said, had she shown up at the dinner, I would have thought there would have been drama at the dinner. But because she showed up late, I'm led to believe that no, she just slipped off the wagon, and that was just kind of her go-to, you know, defense mode whenever someone calls her on something like that. I would imagine that maybe this was not the first time this year that it's been the anniversary of her sister's death.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could very well be just a cover up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see that. Well, I want to know because Spencer clearly knows Amira more than Carlton does, as in like they've known each other longer potentially. So I wonder how much lore at some point we're gonna get out of Spencer to Carlton. Because for me, I'm looking at this from a storyline perspective. You giving Amira giving her location to Carlton only means that at some point she's gonna go off the grid, as in like she's just her like map
He's gonna
location
be
is
looking for her and can't find her.
yeah, it's not up refreshing, so he doesn't know what to do and where to go. So he goes to Spencer, and Spencer's like, "Well, usually she would go to this one spot that I know," and that's where he goes, and maybe he finds her there. Something like that. I think that's something you should be keeping an eye on.
It's a good point. I didn't really think about it because to me, when you share your location with somebody, that don't mean nothing. You know, first of all, I ain't got nothing to hide from nobody. So I'm grown. If I want to go, I'm gonna go. And you can ask me why I'm there, but you definitely can't ask me where I'm going or whatever. I might tell you, I might not. But you know, this is a relationship. Like unless you know on the little map, she's like, "Oh, I'm at home," and then the little dot is at like, "Oh, look, a random crack house." You know, like I really don't see the location thing being a big deal. You know, because in my mind, she's probably doing drugs where she's comfortable at home or around the same areas. Like, I doubt that he's going to be like, what is she doing on that side of town? You know, like, I don't know. I don't really see Amira as oh, yeah, I followed her off the grid, you know, as well. And when I got there, she was doing something seedy and I caught her. I really felt like this was symbolic, but nothing damning that would get her into any trouble. Now, like you said, if she does go offline, Spencer definitely could come through with the information because I'd have to imagine Amira's business that Spencer knows, he probably, I don't know if there's like, there's probably not an oath or anything you got to take, but I'm pretty sure he's like kind of honor bound to not just go tell her business to Carlton, you know, like kind of like a confidentiality thing. But if it's something where we can't find her, Carlton has whatever reason to be worried
If it's like
or something like that.
danger,
Yeah. Yeah. Like she did this last time. She was gone for 2 weeks. You know, I really need your help. I think Spencer might crack. But I wasn't expecting Amira to completely push Spencer away and tell Carlton, we're not coming to these meetings anymore.
right. I didn't see that coming either, but here we are.
Yeah. And this is bad. Spencer has been a good part of the season so far. He was able to give Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv, well, I'm sorry, Vi and Lou the room so that they could have their little intervention. And he was able to give Carlton a place to go. But it looks like we might be seeing less of Spencer unless he comes to save the day later on. We'll have to see later on. We haven't talked about Ashley at all. Ashley.
This would have never been a thing you said in season 2. Like, can you believe where we are? Ashley has storyline.
Yeah, which is wild because she normally does it. She normally doesn't. I definitely would have said we haven't talked about Ashley in a while, but I wouldn't have anywhere to go with that information. But now,
and there.
I got a little something. Yeah. Ashley is also very broken up about the rocky relationship between Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is the worst part of dealing with teenagers is that around this age, 14, 15, 16, 17, in my experience as an educator, this is when they start to suck. You know, they really get into their own they really get into their own emotions a lot, and then the world revolves around them, and everything is woe is me, and they're all dark and twisty. Ashley has hit her emo phase. Okay, she's dark, she's twisty, she's brooding. Nobody understands her. Her parents are the only ones with issues. Ashley, you're rich. Let me remind you, Ashley, you are rich. You're
You have money.
there are bigger fish to fry out here, Ashley. Come on, calm down. It'll be okay, baby. They all right. They gonna be all right. She's like, why won't they ever just be public about their struggles? And the moment she hears them arguing, she's like, wait, wait, are they sad? Are they upset? Ashley, which one is it?
Pick a side. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me because Ashley right now is she's in her music era. She's trying to do something, she's trying to express her emotions and feelings through music, which is funny because Hillary basically found a diss track on her in this lyric book.
What's this song you got here, Ashley? Sister, sister? And she's like, oh, damn, Ashley. Ashley was happy to pass some notes over. Like, yeah, look at it. Read the lyrics. What you think?
Read my shit. And then Hillary's like, wow, you did everything but call me a bitch. So that's good, I guess. She's like, well, it's not, you don't know. It's not done yet. I was like, okay, Ashley, go to your room.
Ashley, calm down. Go to your room. Like, Ashley act like this Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv drama is a personal attack on herself, but she's using also the Hillary drama too. None of that had to do with Ashley at all, but she saw it, so she's in it. So she's dealing with a lot because she's making her diss tracks about her family, and now on the bright side, Hillary has asked her to be her maid of honor when she is to marry LaMarcus. So a lot from Ashley, but also, what are we doing? Where are we going with this? Ashley starting a band.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Well, she was gonna start a band, and then she decided not to start a band because her little friend implied that her parents were gonna get divorced.
I don't even think she implied it. It's like she said the word divorce, and Ashley was like, "Oh, so you think we've been?" And it's like, hold on, Ashley, calm down, okay? Again, since episode 1 of this season, Ashley been saying they act like they're so perfect. And it's like, all right, Ashley, now they're not acting like they're perfect. And you can't take the heat, baby. Just calm down a little bit. Her friend was just trying to help her.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Eli shows up, and I'm not quite sure what Eli's purpose is, but there are non-binary character in this episode who it looks like Ashley might have a connection with. Hillary was like, oh, I heard you had a boy in the room. Ashley's like, oh, Hillary, it was nothing, but Pooya, it might have been something.
Was it something?
I don't know. You know, we see that there's chemistry, I guess. They seem like they get along as friends. I don't really like to speculate on 14-year-olds' relationships.
That's fair. It's very fair.
But she still has her door.
There's something going on. I feel like that's a spark. I felt a spark there for sure. Or they could just be friends, but I definitely felt that spark as well.
I think Aunt Viv did too, and I find it very entertaining that making Eli's character non-binary forces Aunt Viv to probably deal with a conversation that a lot of parents are probably having now that they didn't expect to have, which is like, I don't want a boy in your room, and they're like, well, their pronouns are they, he, so or he, they, or whatever the case may be, and Viv being like, okay, well, I don't want them in your room. Like how do I paint this to where I can protect my kid, but also, make sure that, I'm being respectful of their pronouns.
Right. I mean, that was because once Ashley said that, I feel like Aunt Viv didn't know how to go about it. She's like, okay, just don't close the door.
Right. Which is probably what you should be saying anyway, right?
Perfect compromise.
Ashley is no safer, like relationship wise, whether there's a girl or a boy in the room, whomever, because you know what Ashley likes, and so to be like, if it's a boy, if they're masculine presented, that's a no. It's like, all right, maybe just leave the door open as a blanket rule, and then you don't have to worry about any inappropriate behavior amongst the kids. Just keep it across the board, even across the board. And I don't think there's any problem.
Yeah, everything's okay.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's Ashley's story.
We can move on.
they put her in the episodes, but it's like, okay, again, she's very young, so maybe there's not that much to tackle yet. But I think if we keep getting more and more seasons, the older Ashley gets, the more mature her storylines can become, and then maybe she can fit into the family scheme of things a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely think that we're gonna get there. I mean, it depends how many seasons we run of this, but I definitely think there's a world where we get there.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to flag up is about Frederick. I don't want to move too far away from him because I did want to ask you a question. I complained a little bit about the way Lou, in his moment where he seems like him and Will are going to be on the same page. They're playing basketball together. Now that Jeffrey has allegedly cleaned up all of this Frederick nonsense, we talked about if Jeffrey's out of the game now, if he was able to pay for his freedom, is maybe Frederick safe? That's cool. But Pooya, I still don't trust Frederick either. I just can't. I can't let go of the idea that maybe there's more to Frederick than meets the eye. I mean, maybe he's just a little mischievous. You know, he likes to gamble. But I feel like they gave us enough information to believe that I don't think Frederick is as innocent as he's painting himself to be.
Oh, I do not think that Frederick's out of the woods and super clear at this point. No.
Yeah.
I think obviously the phone call could be to mom, whatever, but that moment with Will at the benefit thing, I still feel like that was not to mom.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't feel like it was for mom. And also looking at him crazy about the street racing. You know, that was just,
Yeah.
you know, maybe he's, like I said, maybe he's just a normal guy who does some offhand stuff, you know, every now and then, some just like back alley bull. But I think that we still can't trust him. I think that he might be on the inside of whatever operation from old Jeffrey or something. Because I cannot separate myself from the original Frederick just being garbage.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
yeah, so I want to put a pin in that too because I know we talked about whether or not Jeffrey would get out of the game, you know, if Frederick is safe. But also now I have to remind myself that I'm also watching Frederick. I'm watching a lot of people in these two episodes. Um, you know what? I'm not really watching too much. Black
What?
says. Black says. Again, what exactly is this business plan? We've seen that they have made strives to get an endorsement from a rapper in this episode. Jackie's able to help Will with that maneuvering. We've seen that they are kind of dragging their feet on a lot of things. But I don't really know if this business plan is going to work out when all they've managed to do was sell t-shirts and talk to a rapper.
Yeah. I mean, again, this was my big issue of being in that room and hearing everyone's business propositions. Will and Carlton's proposition is essentially we are a social media merch brand. Like they've done nothing else. Get the word out, spread the word out. Cool. What else are you doing? Like all you've done is sell t-shirts so far.
Yeah. And they're taking out time out of their like schedules to go do stuff that has nothing to do with Black Says. You know, Carlton running around behind a mirror, him and Will going to the beach and things like that. It's like this is not going to be conducive. But luckily, they do have a few people who are still in their corner trying to help them pull strings. We saw Jackie return. And she confronts Will about the whole situation, the kind of love triangle situation that she was in with Will last episode when it came to Lisa. Because as Jackie points out, Will never even like apologized or talked to her. It's like in 1 second she was doing all these nice things for her. Lisa cusses her out, and then next thing you know, Will and Lisa are off at the beach hanging out. Nobody even checked on Jackie.
No one did check on Jackie. She kind of just like she went by the wayside to them.
Yeah. Did you think that she had a point when charging Will up? Because I like that she went to him and said, "Hey, you could have stood up for me. I'm trying to help you out." I mean, she will eventually make the connection between him and the rapper by the end of this episode.
I mean, she is the 100%. I like the way she approached this 100% easily.
Are we rooting for Jackie?
What does that mean though?
I mean, you know, we know what Jackie wants.
Oh, are we shipping them? No.
Yeah.
No.
So you still team Lisa?
Yes.
I can't do it.
Lisa is the reason why Will has the energy he has right now. She's the one who built him to this point. She made him.
You know, I hear you. I just think that I think that the Will and Lisa thing, it needs to mature a little bit more. I think that right now he should be kicking it with Jackie. She seems to be into whatever he's into. Very helpful. She's been very nice. We've seen her have his back multiple times, and I don't think Lisa and Will are on the same page. I think that they have sweet moments like they did on the beach, but ultimately she's supposed to be really focusing on her swimming. He's supposed to be doing black set. It feels like the Lisa relationship, although it might be the end game for this show, I feel like maybe it's for a later date. I feel like you could go give this Jackie thing a try.
Boo! Boo you, Chappell. Boo. No.
I'm just saying. Because
no, then I think Sharif should also get his chance.
We know. We heard you. You've been hinting at this for years. You've been pushing this Sharif agenda since season 1, and I won't stand for it.
Season 1? The dude just showed up now.
It feels like you've been doing it forever.
Wow.
Yeah. So there are some business problems over there with Will and Carlton. Also, we called it. Uncle Phil has some drama with Jazz. Gentrification is happening, and Uncle Phil is on the wrong side of history. I'm like, this is the Uncle Phil that I remember. This is the Fresh Prince's Uncle Phil. Let's stay true to the subject matter, Pooya.
You are a menace, but you're also very on the money. You're not wrong.
Mm-hmm. The protesters have pulled up to their house.
Yeah, and see how calm Uncle Phil is? Like, yeah, just let them do what they're doing. It's cool.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. They don't understand. Yeah. Uncle Phil thinks this is an other people's problem. You know, like he's found his business, you know, that he's doing. He's trying to help out Dule Hill and his whole construction agency. And he's the legal representation. But what does that mean? That means that when people have issues, Uncle Phil is the person that they're going to. And when there is a issue of making, you know, purchases and increasing the gentrification in this area, Uncle Phil will be the one issuing those notices. And so Uncle Phil has to go to Jazz, and of all people, and talk about Jazz's record store. And he offers him a bunch of money to say, hey, maybe just bow out, take this cash, you know.
Take the money. You need it for the back
money.
taxes.
Yeah, you're a hustler. Ain't you a hustler? Take the money. Just look at all the things you can do. I really love Uncle Phil in this episode, Pooya. I wasn't a fan of Uncle Phil helping out with the man and the gentrification.
Well, I will say when he saw the message from Jazz that said not done hustling, he seemed proud of him. Like I didn't think he's not full villain just yet.
Yeah. But it's pretty close. It is pretty close because at some point Uncle Phil has cut off Erica completely, allegedly. And so he doesn't have a lot of other avenues to go when trying to keep his new industry alive, his new business alive. And so he's got to really lean into this gentrification whole storyline when it comes to, you know, being successful and being able to provide for his family. So now he's looking at taking something out of the community that a lot of people respect. We find out in this episode that Jazz is well respected in the community for being a business owner and owning one of the longer standing businesses in the neighborhood. And so now Uncle Phil has no choice but to do his job, and that is to try to increase this construction territory, purchasing up this land and these spaces to add on to this development that is now coming. And so we knew that he would come, you know, and end up at odds with Jazz, but we haven't seen the rest of the family find out. And I don't think they're going to be happy about this, Pooya.
I mean, definitely not. If there's going to be another in-house feud, it's going to be the world against Uncle Phil, the house against Uncle Phil, for sure.
Because Ashley's got her whole dark and broody, you know, teenager, my life is awful, you know, whatever. She's got that going on. Hillary, who we know is getting married to LaMarcus, doesn't actually seem like she's that far removed from the Jazz situation. Will loves Jazz as well. And, you know, things just haven't been the best with Aunt Viv right now anyway. So I think you're right. I think that Jay's about to jump him. They're about to jump Uncle Phil. And he's not gonna come out of this one unscathed. Them family members are coming for him when they find out he's about to try to buy up Jazz's place.
Easily.
Yeah.
And I'm here. I'm ready for the new drama. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very okay to see where that takes us.
Yeah, because we're about halfway through, and we've done a lot of building, I guess, in this season to what could come next. We finally hit the moment where I think we're about to go off the cliff when it comes to this Carlton and Namira situation. I think the Will situation, I feel like there's 4 more episodes of drama that can be built now that we've kind of handled the Lou situation in a way, you know, like the Lou Vi Will, like that's kind of in a bubble. And I think that the basketball storyline is about to be like take off right now. The willy won't they with the basketball and the business side. So I feel like we're right there for that. I feel like with Hillary, LaMarcus, we haven't really discussed his football plans at this point. We know Hillary's still trying to fake it like it's all good. But I feel like right now we're on the downside of the season. We're about to go down the slope all the way down to the finale. And we have a lot of potential drama that could be coming forward. And I'm excited to see it.
I can't wait. I'm telling you, like there's a couple good reasons why to do the podcast. Number one, get to talk to you weekly, which is great. Number two, we love talking about Bel-Air. Number three is once we're done, I can watch the next 2 episodes. And that, because I don't want to watch ahead, obviously. So that is another nice bit of appeal to all of this as well.
Yeah, we got a few more episodes to watch. Episodes 7 and 8 should be available on Peacock by the time you hear this. And we'll be trying to get 9 and 10 out, I guess. That'll probably be dropped as a pair. That'll be our finale podcast. And then we'll be waiting for season 4. Even just saying it now, I'm already getting annoyed because who knows when they're going to bring this back for season 4. We might have to wait 2 years.
Nope. I've decided they're not allowed to do that. Nope.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Because for a minute we were going, every February or so, we were getting another season, which is first season, second season. And then it's been over a year. I mean, I think there was a writer's strike somewhere in there too, but it's been over a year and some change since the last one.
Yeah, no, I feel like, and you know, we've definitely vented about this offline on other podcasts about the way the production world works for TV now. And all right, you enjoyed that? All right, see you in 2 years before you see the next one. We wait way too long for these shows. I hope it's not more than a year. And based on the pacing of the release here, I have to assume they've got something cooking already, because otherwise, why do you want to zoom past so quickly?
Yeah, we shall see. I think we're going to have to wait a little bit of time at least, but we still got a couple more of these podcasts and episodes to drop. So again, thank you all for listening. Thank y'all for keeping up with Recap Kickback and our coverage of Bel-Air. If you're listening on the Bel-Air post-show recap feed, come check out Recap Kickback because we're not going to keep that feed going much longer. So you need to be on Recap Kickback to get all your Bel-Air your episode recaps. And you know, maybe we'll start talking about what we see in the off season too, if there's anything that comes up that's good. But until then, Pooya, thanks for joining me again, Cole.
Of course. Always a pleasure, man.
Yes, and tell everybody where they can find you.
Twitter at Pooyaism, twitch.tv/Pooya for your Twitch needs. That's where when I'm not podcasting. For podcast 90 Day Fiance, we're starting a new season this week before the 90 days. Liana is coming back onto the show to talk about that. So that'll be fun there. And then if you're watching Big Brother Friday mornings, that's where you can find me talking about the live feeds.
Yes. And as far as I'm going, you can catch me on Recap Kickback, obviously talking about various other shows. There's a lot of interesting Black TV and movies that are dropping in the next couple weeks. So I'm going to try to bring that to the podcast if we can. Latanya, Mari, and I all talked about Hollywood Black, a docuseries on MGM Plus, and they dropped the first 2 parts. We talked about them, and now we're waiting on the second 2 parts to drop. But in the meantime, I'm pretty sure there's a Lee Daniels movie called Deliverance that just dropped on Netflix. It seems like a Black horror movie with Glenn Close, and from what I've seen in the clips, it's insane.
I saw a clip that you put on Twitter and I've not recovered. That was the first thing I saw when I woke up.
That is the only scene I've seen of the movie. And so I am intrigued to say the least, but you know, we only have so much time. So I got to make sure that if I have time to talk about that one, I'll bring that too. Maybe save it for spooky season, as October is not too far away either. And then you can catch AJ will be joining me on Recap Kickback to talk about Fight Night in September. So that'll be fun. But a lot coming your way on Recap Kickback. So you can check that out. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and then catch me in various other locations. I just guested on the Claim to Fame podcast finale on RHAP. Rob and I are talking about the hot dog eating contest on Netflix on the Nothing But Netflix podcast. And then I'm trying to think Below Deck. Sasha should be back for the Below Deck recap this week. So that'll be a fun ride too. So if you like Below Deck, check that out on the Below Deck wrap-up feed on RHAP. Check out the Nothing But Netflix podcast. And then, of course, check out the various Big Brother and other reality TV show content we have on RHAP after you check out Recap Kickback, because you ain't got to go home. But until next time, we will bring you more content here on Recap Kickback. Thank you everybody for listening. Peace.
I've been trapped behind Tall Maria, isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreamers. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.